Welcome to Character Visualization using AI for the writer. I'm W.C. Turk. Well, a younger, reasonable facsimile of myself during the siege of Sarajevo in the 1990s. A cautionary before we get started. This is a simple and basic course designed to familiarize you with the basics. You can go deep down a rabbit hole with AI. This presentation seeks to keep it simple. You'll see and hear from some of my characters, as well as historical figures brought to life, so to speak, through AI. This is a nascent technology. 2 years ago on my podcast, I spoke with a writing professor from Columbia College in Chicago. The impact AI would have on writing was still an unknown and wasn't even on the radar for writers and instructors. All that changed overnight. The future of this technology is yet to be defined. This presentation seeks to offer some parameters. I'll be back at the end, and then the real W.C. Turk will open it up to questions and discussion. Okay, here we go. Cue.
The visual arts mirrors our technological ascendance and the need better visualize what is ruminating around in our mind's eye, and by extension help us to not only capture the world around us, but a world of our own conjuring. Cave painters employed overlapping lines and flickering campfires to provide the illusion of motion. Renaissance artists invented the camera obscura to render accurate characters and solve visual problems around parallax and perspective. We know of the first folk tales and parables from 3200 BC, 5200 years ago, because someone had the bright idea to press those stories using reeds into hand-pressed clay tablets 700 years before the Epic of Gilgamesh. Clay tablets begat the Egyptian papyrus, which begat the linen scroll and codex, and finally, the book. The Chinese gave us paper and block printing. The Muslims protected and expanded upon the great works of classical Greece. That long and complex history gave us Gutenberg's press in 1456, through which literacy rates skyrocketed and the written word proliferated. The computer age, beginning in the 20th century, opened the door to the democratization of the written word. No longer was storytelling or literature the protected domain of the wealthy or the ruling class. Wars were no longer about strategy and the conquest of nobles, but by and about the common soldiers slogging it out in muddy lice-infected trenches. Love, romance and tragedy were no longer filtered through posh parlours, but might spring up with epic passion in hardscrabble urban slums and rural trailer parks. The story of a slave could prove as poignant and communally affirming as the wealthy and well-connected. Put into perspective, it becomes better ways of rendering the story of us, of finite creatures, capable of suffering, dying, and above all loving. It is that final character which places us above any machine and provides the basis for all fiction and literature, as, at their core, they are all explorations and declarations about love. In each of those stories, there is discovery, the journey which only the living storyteller can take. No machine will ever take you to those moments of epiphany and astonishment, and above all, growth, the foundation of a writer's innate wisdom, within and without. That is the human writer's domain, which we must defend at all costs.
Thank you, Q. I am the great Nefertiti, Queen of Heaven and Earth. I walked the earth more than 3,300 years ago. Why is this important, you ask? To deny technology is to deny our history. But we also live by rules. We don't normally drive on sidewalks or across lawns. We stick to the roads because rules define civilization and us as civilized beings. That becomes imperative to the storyteller, who has always been a driver of community and civilization. The story is us. No machine knows what it is like to be mortal, to love and to live in these odd and wondrous bodies. No machine must face cancer and loss, appreciate the commodity of a sunrise or a flower in springtime. It is the destination, but our ever-changing technology, which offers tools that may aid us in telling that story to its fullest. Welcome to AI characterization. How many of you use spell check, a rhyming dictionary, a thesaurus? Remember whiteout? Cutting and pasting might have horrified Mark Twain, Emily Bronte, or Hemingway, who worked with unforgiving typewriter ribbons. But then again, what might the classical Greek playwrights who passed down epic tales verbatim and unwritten from generation to generation say about the typewriter which homogenized the story? We think nothing of using these tools to better render our story. I cannot stress enough my fears should the human storyteller abandon that necessary journey of working out and working through the components of a story. But an AI editor might mitigate crucial costs to aspiring or financially limited authors. And it can be crucial to realizing physical characteristics of characters. We are a visual species. There is a reason that learning material and storytelling holds greater impact through combined visual, auditory, and reading formats. Try to watch a movie with subtitles without reading the subtitles. As writers, we also strive to build visual imagery in the minds of our readers. For example, in W.C. Turk's upcoming Substack series, The Adventures of Oliver the Talking Cat, you probably have a personalized, preconceived image of what a cat named Oliver looks like. Now, if I begin to fill in details, Oliver is a polydactyl Maine Coon. He's tan with dark brown stripes with a long hair coat, a shaggy tail, big ears, golden green eyes, and a lion-esque mane. We are building a more accurate image of the real cat. You know, perhaps you should hear this from Oliver himself. Oliver?
Thank you, Nefertiti. No pressure. I mean, how do I follow the queen of everything, right? Just kidding, Nef. I call her Nef. Okay, so what about bringing a historical figure to the page? See what I did there? Let's take Joan of Arc, for example, of which we only have descriptions. A simple contemporary description and some artistic representations long after she lived. But as writers, we want to bring Joan to life, filled with the expressiveness and vibrancy she held in life. Much the same way Michelangelo and Da Vinci dissected the human body to understand musculature and motion to render their figures. Interestingly, the AI seems to identify culturally specific norms and attitudes through subtext. Regardless of the language she renders with a righteous aggression, adamant focus, and intense passion, but it is more aggressive in her native French and more impassioned in English. These are brief examples in English and in French. Notice the subtle character differences.
Saint Margaret and Catherine were martyred for their beliefs and preserved their virtue to the death.
Sainte Marguerite et Sainte Catherine ont été martyrisées pour leurs croyances et ont préservé leur vertu jusqu'à la mort.
Joan of Arc. Me. Ow! Sorry. So, Joan says the same thing in French and in English, with different emotional outputs. That's an important consideration. With AI, you can physically build and see your characters from all sides. These are your references. The skill and talents you employ as a writer is in describing them in such a way that they become real to your reader, or the way in which they are woven into your narrative becomes all about the writer. Again, we have 5 senses. The primary ways we learn visual and to hone stories and characters is primarily through sight and then sound. Reading is a visual medium. Allow AI to help you build that visual library, augmented with sound, to truly give that character a living voice. There are some great audio tools as well. For example, Galaxy.ai has a decent AI talking photo generator which maintains an audio library of 1,399 voices currently, male and female, different cadences and dialects, foreign language voices, and celebrity voices. One caveat, this program interprets off a still image, and the voice can be a little stilted and paced a bit off. WC has corrected for that through creative, non-standard punctuation and parceling sentence breaks into separate paragraphs. Remember, the program just does not understand. Irony. While the AI programs at this stage of the game maintain vast visual libraries, what they lack is life experience and contextual relationships. AI may fill in a great many gaps, but clear, concise prompts will bring you more consistent results. You can become competent without sacrificing precious time. This is meant to aid you in visualizing your characters towards better character development, which is as important as your story idea. So, there are rules to character development. Masterclass.com has a great article for free online about character development. www.masterclass.com Writing Tips for Character Development. How to Develop a Fictional Character. 6 Tips for Writing Great Characters offers great advice. Dario Villarilli, writing at readsy.com, offers a piece online for free. Character Development. How to create fan-favorite characters in 5 steps. Number 1. Give the characters wants and needs. 2. Identify their strengths and flaws. 3. Sketch out their antagonists. 4. Develop their look and behavior. And finally, research their trade and culture. Your characters are living beings. Bring them to life. Give them purpose. Links to those pieces and the presentation will be up at wcturk.substack.com. That's it for me. Old Cowboy, give us some of your folksy wisdom.
Happy to. Partner. So, put simply, characterization is an essential process in which we build a flesh and blood individual, a 3-dimensional character with depth, personality, and clear motivations, which we all have. Your character may also change over time, throughout the story both physically and mentally, and it describes how all of your characters will relate and interact. This all relates directly to your story, which should be about your character and characters, plural, development through their journey. Primary to the story are the juxtaposed protagonists, your hero and antagonist, your anti-hero, or the person or thing he is battle against. There is so much more to your characters than their physical experience. They are flaws, race, gender, their emotional makeup, memories, age. Secondary characters are real people too, but we are over the plateau now with AI. It can help us to visualize the character and put the character in an actual space. So, let's talk about visual conceptualization for a moment. There's a wealth of online resources for building your character's personality, history, motivations, and such. Masterclass gives a pretty good step-by-step to character development at masterclass.com. Writing tips for character development. And just to be clear, those are essential to building that literary library for your character. As I said, what we want here is to put those characters in a physical body and see them in a visual space. You know, I bet this part is best told by an actual artist. Leonardo, why don't you take a crack?
See, indeed. I shall have as you say, my friend, a crack? So, we must ask basic questions and then add details. Yes? What is their gender? What is their age at the beginning of the novel? What do they look like, even if they are happy, intense, or morose? What time period do they inhabit, which informs how do they dress? Do they dress in a way that is appropriate for their age or time, or do they dress to look younger or older than they are? What major experiences have they had in their lives? Scars. In the piece, Writing Exercise for Character Development, 1-page character description, there are great insights into building a narrative character. The writers recommend choosing one of your characters and then writing a 1-page description of them, such as, instead of writing a plain, physical description, try viewing the character through a creative lens. For example, does she have a nickname? What did she do to earn it? Does it refer to her appearance or her attitude? And how does she feel about it? Per esempio, scusi. For example, choose one event from your character's past and elaborate on that. So something like, does your character have a back injury, a limp, or some handicap or scar from an accident from his or her past? Does he move differently now because of this injury? Do people treat him differently? What are the psychological repercussions of the accident, such as, you say, nightmares? Yes? Trauma or flashbacks? All of this is necessary, see? But what of visualizing the physical? Not so simple as we might think. Let me explain. Yes. We shall try a little experiment, see? Try and visualize a flower in a glass of water. Visualize the shape of the glass, the type of flower, and where it resides in relation to a light source. It could be a window, a lamp, sitting on a sill or a table. Its color. Is it small or large? Are petals strong or wilting? How much water is in the glass? Perhaps it is cloud or old water, yes? Is it day or night? Are the shadows dramatic? Many details, but important details, which live in Y4 mind's eye. Now, draw just what you see. It is difficult. Yes? In a study by Dr. Jiabin Shen, an assistant professor of psychology and director of Pediatric Injury Research Lab at University of Massachusetts, and Lynn Gautier from the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, which was published in Life Science September 29, 2024, titled, How Do You See Pictures in Your Brain? They researched why some people can visualize objects and of scenarios more easily than others can. They point out that even the same person can be better or worse at picturing things in their mind at different times. As writers and visual artists, we begin to collect a vast visual library mentally, but it is much more than that. We recall the past, daydream of next year's vacation or an imagined lover. Yes? Scientists believe your primary visual cortex, located in the back of your brain, is involved in internal visualization. This is the same part of the brain that processes visual information from the eyes and that lets you see the world around you. Another brain region, located in the front of the brain, also contributes to mental imagery. Called the prefrontal cortex, it is in charge of executive functions, a group of high-level mental skills that allow you to concentrate, plan, organize, and reason and interact socially. In short, writing utilizes the whole brain, including the visual cortex. And there are techniques you may employ to help you better visualize. All this becomes important for creating the AI prompts that will create a visual depiction of your character. You know, this is becoming too scientific for a lowly Renaissance painter. Perhaps my dear friend from Bavaria, the very lovely Greta Schumacher, may be better to explain. Greta was the love interest in The Assassination of Baby Hitler, a love story, a time travel novel by W.C. Turk. With that, my friends, I shall bid you all good writing and leave you in much lovelier hands. Arrivederci. Dear, would you be so kind?
Indeed, Herr da Vinci. Danke schön. Welcome to the Schumacher Inn, here in München, or Munich, as you Americans say. Ja, Bavaria. The year is 1891. Willkommen. It is best to imagine AI as a conduit rather than a destination. It is a tool only. And to use this tool, you must learn how to use. The first thing you must know is using the prompt. The prompt tells the AI what it is you want it to produce. This is the time to sketch and experiment, to refine your vision. We can begin with something simple, an impression which we can begin to refine. I like the image generator at perchance.org to work out my ideas. It is free with no sign up and unlimited generations. Just keep refining your prompt or hitting generate to refresh with new images. Perchance offers frame shapes like square, landscape, and portrait, and so forth. You may choose various styles. I am rendered in cinematic style, and there are many to choose from, such as oil painting, anime, Disney sketch, etc. Choose from genres, lighting effects, shots from various angles, and how many images you wish to generate. I believe the default is 6 images, but you may choose up to 32. It is quite nice. Do not be afraid. Constructing concise prompts takes a bit of practice. That is why you should choose a free site which will allow you to practice. It won't take long, and soon you will master the AI prompt. Yeah, one more note before we continue. If you are using foreign words or .com or .org, writing out those words literally or phonetically, such as writing out the .dot. In Deutschland, we spell willkommen with a W. For this prompt, we spelled it with a V. Okay, let's play a little, shall we? And build a character together? Yeah? Okay, so our prompt is, how about someone who looks like me? We can write, a pretty 25-year-old blonde woman with flowing hair, 19th century barmaid in a rustic candlelit inn at night. Again, be clear and concise. Despite popular assumptions, the AI is like a 5-year-old. They both confuse easily and will stray if not confined within your prompt. Use a sublime economy of words. Fear not, however, with practice, you will only become better. Choose a free site that you like and practice. One note, use the economy of words in the prompt to begin building a pertinent acumen about your character for your narrative story.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Data Q, a next-generation android character from W.C. Turk's Star Trek-inspired Substack serial, Fugitives. I am fashioned in the form of a woman with a feminine identity. Therefore, I have adopted the name Beth. I believe it suits me better. Okay, so there are steps in creating a visual character. Visualization is part of that process. We create a visual impression, adding pertinent details. That visual impression comes to our minds in a hazy pictorial form. As you continue and focus, your ability to visualize shall become better. The human brain is a magnificent machine, which becomes better as it is trained. As writers, it becomes natural to convert those visual impressions into descriptive words and sentences. That is also a learned skill, rather than a natural skill. That skill is the product of 130,000 years of storytelling culture, coupled with 15,000 years of reducing real, three-dimensional animals to two-dimensional representations upon cave walls, and at least 6,000 years since our brains were trained to represent and describe our world through abstractions of alphabetic symbols. Indeed, writing is the most communal technology ever created, because it relies upon agreement in the use of those symbols, essentially transmitting the visual imagery from the writer's mind to the reader's mind.
Becoming better at visualization will help you to build your characters in your mind and then bring them to life in your reader's mind. There are some simple techniques to help you improve your visualization and conceptualization. Begin small. Imagine an apple. Now begin to transform it, running through its life from a pink and white blossom as it grows and ripens. Is its parent tree alone upon a hill, beside a creek, in an orchard? Imagine the apple falls to the ground and so forth. Try the candle exercise. Imagine there is candle in front of you. Now focus on its size, weight, and position. This exercise will help you to develop better concentration and visualization skills. Frequency and duration. Practice visualization regularly and learn to not only hold the mental image for longer periods, but to explore in and around your image, whether it moves and how it moves. This will deepen and enhance your image conceptualization. Create a vision board. Create a physical representation of your image or character, using cutouts or images to visualize more precisely. If you are ready, Try using AI, first with simple prompts, then adding details. Utilize all of your senses. Your characters are real. Explore them using all 5 senses, including how they may sound, their emotion quirks, even how they smell, to create a more immersive experience. From visualization, there is refinement. William, you are an expert in refinement.
Obliged, dear Beth. I wouldst be most honoured. I am the great William Shakespeare, and I did indeed author all those plays, you naysayers. One could not plainly write anything directly impugning the crown, though many of us found cause. The crown had its spies everywhere, necessitating subterfuge through refinement. A wrong word and off with one's head. Ask my contemporary, the too early and very late Mr. Christopher Marlowe. Funny story, actually. You see, what cost dear Marlowe his head, so to speak, was a rather salacious accusation in his play Edward II about the Crown of England. Making such claims against the Crown, even in a play, was absolutely forbidden, a lesson I learned keenly and was loath to violate, and, as you can see, still got me Ed. Enough about that. We are here to learn about revising visual images. The goal here is to move you to constant character, in which you render, see, and perhaps hear your character more fully. Methinks that would have been grand in merry old England. Refining for artists is a bit different than refining for writers, though not dissimilar. 1. Create situations that allow for new ways to interpret and view your character. You can go down a rabbit hole attempting to place your visual character in various scenes and scenarios. We're after a basic rough draft. 2. Simplify your composition. Begin simple. Race, ethnicity, age, hair color and style, eye color, skin tone, the context or era in which they lived. Then begin adding in greater details. 3. Don't settle for the first image. Reflect on your work. Regularly reviewing and revisiting your artwork can help you finalize your concept. Remember, it can be beneficial to let your work breathe before revising. Let it sit, ponder it, walk away, and get a bit of distance. View the image in the context of your story, idea, or outline. Try not to allow the image to drive your narrative. Then return with a clearer idea. It may be that the initial image is a grand starting point, or you may scrap it and start over. It is all part of the creative process. A cautionary, no one has an excellent first draft, which is why they're often referred to as rough drafts, because they are just that. This is the same with your writing. A first draft aims to get your story on the page in all its messy glory, and then you revise. Revise! Oh dear Lord, revise! Well, the important thing is to get the story on the page and not interrupt the creative flow by stopping to edit. The revision process involves critical analysis, and a bit time away from your work will allow a sharper, more objective mindset. This is a growth process for you and for your character. I can see you are all still with me. Perhaps you already have some keen ideas. You are a fine bunch of writers. The need for consistent characters is self-evident. Primarily as writers, the image is reference. Filmmaking requires much more than we will touch upon here, but a great character is a great character, and will hold a story together. Their face, voice, style, and personality can build the emotional connection that keeps audiences engaged from start to finish. The fully realized character is the foundation of your story. AI can be a useful tool in helping you create that foundation. A quick note about prompts. This is critical to rendering the image, or as close to your vision as possible. Revisions are key as well. Writing effective image prompts is a learnable skill, not a talent. Once you understand the structure that works AI generators, you will consistently produce professional quality images. It takes a bit of practice. Do you think Hamlet was written in one day? Draft, edit, rewrite? Remember, the AI programs are as 5-year-old children and must be guided specifically in order to complete their task. The way you write prompts shapes the AI's output. This is known as prompt engineering, but don't forget, it is the essential conversation to render your vision. Provide the AI context, give it a play or theme. Staging, Second, be very specific. Clarity is key here, and punctuation, direction, and spelling are important. No literary flourishes, my friends. Brevity that can be built upon is the important takeaway. And third, build on the conversation. A few tips to consider. Dupple.com offers this formula. Subject plus action, pose, plus setting, background, plus style, medium, plus lighting, plus camera, composition, plus colour, palette, plus mood, written in sentence form without the plus signs. Dupple recommends that it is not necessary to include every element in every prompt, but by including at least 5 of these produces better results than a one-line description. Remember, always, always in simple declarative sentence form. The neuron dot AI puts it like thus. Think of prompting like cooking instructions. You wouldn't tell someone to make dinner and expect a perfect beef Wellington. You'd give them ingredients, steps, and maybe show them a picture of what you're going for. Same deal with AI. Beef Wellington. Named after Arthur Wellesley, 1st Duke of Wellington, the British general who defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. A bit after my time. I digress. Medium.com, in their piece, How to Design Consistent AI Characters with Prompts, Diffusion and Reference Control, suggests that you should avoid write a prompt and think design a prompt. Use this template also from Medium.com. Identity plus core traits plus clothing style plus pose plus lighting, camera plus background. Remember, use precise, disciplined language, uniform phrasing to define and maintain character identity. Again, dear comrades in word and prose, proficiency in prompts is important, but not to a degree that you are drawn down the proverbial rabbit hole. As you Yanks say, like any sort of research for your story, scientific, historical, whatever, all of these endeavours can begin to detract from actually writing your story, if you wouldst allow. Do not allow. And now, without further ado, every story needs a proper ending. This one is no different. W.C., if thou wouldst be so kind.
Thanks, William Shakespeare. Here I am in the spring of 1963. Just an example of what is possible with AI, but I suspect that you all knew that. You may also have noted a couple of small errors. I opted to leave those in to underscore the need to have clean prompts and to illustrate how little errors can affect.
Shut this down! Shut it down!
What?
No,
This
no,
is
no.
disgusting.
Shut it
Shut
down.
it down.
Shut it down!
First of all, it's been done. Talking babies. That's a cliche. Second, it's a little creepy. I am Nelson Kirk, a character from WC's Star Trek-inspired Fugitives. Captain's log. Actually, I am the great-great-great-great-granddaughter of the legendary James T. Kirk. By the time we get to me, the Federation has been taken in a Romulan coup. I, and a handful of Federation loyalists, are hunted mercilessly across the galaxy. One of those hunting us is Madison Picard, an ancestor of the great Jean-Luc Picard. How we ended up on either side of the coup, and what that means for the legacy of the Federation? Well, that's the story. For now, I'm here to put a neat little bow on this presentation, sans talking babies. I can't stress enough that it is all about story, 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 and you alone must make that necessary journey. That includes rewrites and revisions. Just like a sculptor works and reworks, smooths and reshapes a work of art until it is meticulous, that's the pride and dedication we writers apply to those stories that we give birth to and then release into the world. AI is evolving rapidly. It's quite likely that within the next 18 months, the next few years definitely, that rather than prompts creating characters will be a collaborative conversation between you and your AI counterpart. This is the cutting edge for writers. Is this the intersection of the written word and film? A new era for visualizing stories?
We are on the cusp of anyone turning their story idea into feature film-like compositions. What will that mean for the art form? For Hollywood and the film industry, when AI democratizes storytelling, just as indie and self-publishing democratize the publishing industry. Certainly, big publishers still exist. Great storytelling will always be great storytelling. Throughout history, new technology has presented the storytelling with choices on what supports their innate creativity and what is superfluous and even antithetical. The clay tablet was replaced by the scroll, the Roman codex, illuminated books of the Middle Ages for the very wealthy. Then Gutenberg's press opened the door for the proliferation of the written word, for the storyteller. That is where we are with the ability to fully visualize and realize our characters. For links to everything we referenced, or to view this presentation again, or to check out my serial stories, visit wcturck.substack.com. From all of us from inside WC's crowded head, thank you. WC, why don't you open up the room for discussions?